point to real things, and we've made real progress. And I think we did that last year, and I'm confident we'll continue to do it. I had one other topic for 2020 that I think is strategic, but it's very different than everything else we've talked about. And we're not going to have time to dive into it today. And I was waiting on the right moment, and there really was no right moment. But I want to talk about race in New Smyrna Beach. And I think over the past year, as I came into this role, it settled in on me in a way that it never really had before. I had people approaching me with comments and reaching out to me with things that I was wasn't aware of, tensions that I didn't know were there, frankly. So I don't know. I don't have answers in this space. I'll be completely candid. But I don't think not addressing elephants in the room, not addressing things, doesn't help make it better. And I attended at the Mayor's League of City event this past year, attended a presentation done by the leadership of Palatka, Florida. And they talked about a program they had done, and it was really fascinating. And they made a ton of progress by just getting leaders in the community around the table and just kind of getting it all out there, saying, here's how I feel, here's the reality that I feel, here's my perception, here's the reality that I feel. And I don't believe as a community that we're going to move past some things. I think there will always be some undercurrents if we don't start having what will be a difficult conversation. And frankly, as leaders, sometimes we don't like to even say some of these words because it's such a polarizing thing. Sometimes it feels like you can step in it at any given moment, and so you weigh every word very carefully. But I think we have to get beyond that. I think we have to move beyond that and be willing to be vulnerable and put ourselves out and say we want to have the conversation. We want to address this because, frankly, I am weary of having folks standing up in our commission meetings and saying, their perception is that things are different in their neighborhood than other neighborhoods. And I don't know whether it's reality or not. I can't speak to the reality because I've never walked a mile in their shoes, but I can speak to the fact that it means enough to them to stand up and say it. And so if that's the case, I think we have to do more to address that. And you can do that in many ways, but I think it starts with a conversation. It also starts with data, and there's other elements that play into this. So it's something, again, I'm just kind of putting it out there as I'm opening this up as a community, as leadership. It's something I want to tackle in 2020, not because I think I have it all figured out, but because I think it's important enough, and I think as a community it's important enough for us to talk about. And I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think it's something we have to start that dialogue. We have to start that conversation, and I think we've made progress. I talked last year at an event about building bridges, and truly that's from the bottom of my heart, that's what I want to do is build bridges in our community that haven't existed before. And I've made efforts this year to do that, made connections and attended events and gave speeches and different things. But so again, I don't have it all. I don't know all the right things, but I know that other communities have addressed this head on, and what I heard was it made a difference. And so I would like to see New Smyrna doing that same thing. So I don't know what that looks like, but know that it's something I plan on starting to bring up more and helping lead us through what I hope is making progress in that area. So, but as far as what we've discussed today, this notion of having more routine workshops, completely agree with that. I like the idea of just, again, we don't need facilitators. We don't even need staff to spend hours preparing an agenda. I think we just need to come together and talk and say, here's what's on my mind, and so that was my closing thoughts.